What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with Remax Southern Shores, and today we're going to discuss the pros and cons of buying a new construction home versus a resale. You know, some people that I work with, they say, Jeremy, I just want to buy something that is old. I want something that's got, been through all of the seasons. It's had the works. Everything's been worked out in the house and it's good to go. And then other people I talk to say, listen, I don't want something that somebody else has been in and lived in. I don't want something where people have slept in this room or used this bathroom or cooked in this kitchen or have their smells in the house. I want to be able to get something brand shiny new, has warranties and everything with it. And so that's the only thing I want to buy. So I figured it'd be good today that if we took a little bit of time and kind of discuss kind of the pros of one versus the other. And at the end, well, I'll let you make the decision on which one you want to buy. So let's jump into this and discuss this a little more. All right, so first we're gonna talk about new construction and some of the things that make it an awesome decision and maybe one you wanna make when making your next purchase here in the Myrtle Beach area. And so the first thing on the list is if you're building a house from scratch and you have the right budget, you can customize it to make it any way you want and put in whatever you want. So if you want to decide, I want blue cabinets with brown floors and white counters, you can do that. If you want the walls to be painted like a rainbow, you can have the painter do that. If you want to have a full tile shower, you can have that versus having the fiberglass insert. Or maybe you want to have this room 4 feet larger and have a bump out in it, or a tray ceiling, or any type of customizations that you may want. Now, in today's market, if you're buying a home, and depending on who the builder is, you can make those types of choices. Now other builders, on the other hand, like a D.R. Horton, for example, right now, D.R. Horton is giving you the option to get a brand new home, but they're doing them solely as spec homes, meaning they've already made the choices of what the counters, the cabinets, the floors, the walls, everything's gonna be in the house, and you're just purchasing it brand new. But if you go to another builder, like for example, my clients right now that are buying a Chesapeake home, in that Chesapeake builder home, they're able to make any and all customizations and selections they want. So they were able to add the coffered ceiling in the living area. They were able to put in the gourmet kitchen with the double ovens and the natural gas range and all of those amazing things in the kitchen. They were able to say, I want the spa type shower in the bathroom that I can just walk in and it's 8 foot wide with 4 shower heads and all the other bells and whistles going on. They're able to do those things. Now, obviously, when you start to add those things into a purchase, it does take the price up a significant amount. But if you say, I want to be able to customize and make those choices, then a new construction might be the good option for you. Now, what the statistic has said is that you could build 7 houses till you would actually ever get the perfect home. And really and truly, I don't even know that that's true. If I built 7 homes and each time just made the adjustments, well, I really never should have done that. I wish I would have done this instead. I think it would still take me more than 7 tries till I would get it right. But at least when you build, you have the options to get at least most of what you want. The second reason why you might want to consider going with a new build is that you're going to have a house that is going to be newer, obviously, which means it's going to be more energy efficient, which means your cost to maintain the house after the fact is going to be less. Well, why is that? First off, the HVAC system is going to be brand new. It's going to have all the newest, latest and greatest features in that compressor and in the air handler, which means it's going to take a lot less energy to run the house. The home is also going to be insulated with the latest insulation products, which are more than likely going to make it last and work a little bit better. Also, let's talk about windows when we're talking about insulation a minute. If you have a home that's been built back in the 70s and 80s, it probably has wood frame windows versus the new ones today that are going to be double pane, vinyl encased windows that are going to be super energy efficient. They're going to have the UV protectant on them so that it's not going to let a lot of the sun in, all the different things to help make the house much more energy efficient. I remember my wife and I at one point were renting a home. It was 1,000 yards from the beach and it was built back in the 1950s and it still had some of the original windows in the house. I remember very, very well that in the middle of winter, if I sat on a chair that was within 5 feet of the window, I could feel the draft coming through the window because it was not a good seal. Now, if you have something that's a new home, that's not going to take place. You're also going to find that the house is going to be pressurized for the heating and cooling. If you have an older home right now, you might have something like this if you have central heat or air. Have you ever had a door that slams shut when the air conditioning kicks on because it starts this wind tunnel and it slams shut? Well, in new builds nowadays, they go in and they do what's called a manual J check, where they're going to go in and they're going to make sure that the pressure in the back room of the house is the same amount of temperature as what's in the front room. I remember another house that we rented at one point, and where our bedroom sat, it was on the back corner of the house, and the sun in the afternoon sat on that back corner. So each and every night when we would go to bed, our room would be easily 8 to 10 degrees warmer than any other part of the house. So of course, to make it cooler and comfortable for my wife and I'd go turn the temperature down. Now our children that were on the front half of the house, they in the morning would wake up freezing and shivering cold because their rooms would be so cold, and we would just be about to the point where it'd be somewhat comfortable. Well, in new homes, when they do that manual J check and all, it's gonna help to regulate the temperatures across all the rooms of the house. So maybe you wanna consider, for energy's sake, looking at a new construction home. The third thing on the list, obviously, is the maintenance. If the house is brand new, you're not gonna have to worry about doing repairs and replacing things in the house. Obviously, the appliances are brand new, so you don't need to worry about, I'm gonna have to replace my dishwasher in the next 2 to 3 years and spend $800 to $1,000 for that. Or, hey, my roof is 10 to 15 years old, so I'm gonna have to replace that soon. And putting a new roof on a house might cost you anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe even $20,000, depending on the size of the house. The house has a newer roof on it. So when you start to think about all of those maintenance things, new construction, it's not gonna really have it. And now one of the things you are gonna have to do being a brand new home is you're going to have to set up a lot of the stuff. And we'll talk about that more when we get into the resale homes in a little bit. But maintenance wise, new builds usually are gonna be a lot less work than something that's an older home. The fourth thing on the list is just the layout of the house. Nowadays, what are people looking for? They want homes, for the most part here in our area, is the typical home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with an open floor plan. They want something that's all on one level so that they don't have to do stairs. They don't want to have to go upstairs to go to bed or come down the stairs to get something out of the kitchen. They want it all on one floor. They want it to be kind of more of an open living space. Why is that? Well, what happens when you have guests over to the house? Where does everybody always congregate? They want to congregate near the kitchen. Why is that? Because you as the host are usually in there preparing the food for the people that are arriving, and they want to be nearby to have conversation with you. Well, if you have a house that's an open floor plan, that happens real simple and easy. Now, if you have a home that's an older home, that's obviously not going to take place. So if you're looking for something that's going to have the newer features and layout and design, then you definitely want to look at new construction. Now, with that being stated, for all my people out there that love to have the bathtub, and this is more for the ladies, I get this from time to time, I have to have a bathtub in my bathroom. If there's not one in the master, I'm not buying the house. Unfortunately, a lot of your newer construction homes, unless you go into the custom builds, are not going to have any type of tub anymore in the master bathroom. Instead, it's usually going to be just a shower, usually tile, something like that that you just walk in. So if you need to have a tub for soaking, then you may not want to consider the new builds. You might want to look at resales. And the fifth and final reason why you might want to consider going with that new build is that, well, the builders right now are just offering all types of incentives. Now, if you're going and building a custom build home, there's probably not going to be those types of incentives. But if you go and you buy something with one of the national builders that are in your area, or maybe one of the regional ones, so I'm talking the D.R. Hortons or Pulte Homes or Lennar, or Chesapeake Homes is a large one here in our area that people really seem to like, or some builder like that, then you're going to find that they're going to have some sort of builder incentives available to you. That might mean that they offer you things like closing cost money, maybe $3,000, $5,000. I've seen it as high as $10,000. I've also then going to see things where they're buying down your interest rate. So, if interest rates right now are hitting around 7%, they might have a few houses where the interest rate's going to be 5.99 or 4.99, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But when you take that over a 30-year mortgage, that can equate into hundreds of thousands of dollars saved over that 30-year period of time. So builders are offering things like that. Or I've seen some of the builders right now offering incentives like, hey, we'll screen in your porch for you, or we'll put gutters on the house or window blinds in the home, all types of different things to make their houses sell. So right now in our market, the market isn't as strong as it has been in other times over the last few years. So with that being the case, what is really selling right now is the new construction homes. Why are they selling? Because those builders are able to offer those incentives. They have much deeper pockets than a single person who has their home with all of their life savings into that one single property. They can't sell it and take a $15,000, $20,000 cut, because if they do, they lose all of their equity in the home. Whereas that builder who built that house for maybe $80,000, they can cut 10 to 15 off, not have a big loss and not really care about it or even lose sleep about it, because they're selling 10 of the houses that way and they're making still the same amount of profit in the long run. So when it comes to new construction, if you're wanting something where you can get a deal right now, new construction is probably the way to go. So now that we talked about some of the reasons why you might want to consider going with the new construction route, let's talk about resales. Let's talk about buying a home that's used, something that might be, 3, 5, 10 years old in age, and those types of developments, and some of the pros about going with those options over something that is new construction. So the first reason why you might want to consider looking at a resale is that it's going to be in an established, mature neighborhood. The landscaping is going to have time to have grown up, fill in. It's going to have more of a homey feel than something that's brand new. When a builder goes in to start a new development, what's the first thing they do? They go in and clear cut it all down, take all the trees, everything that's there out, down to the dirt, build the houses, set the roads the way they want, set the lots the way they want, put the homes on, and then put their landscaping package, which includes basically one tree about that much in diameter, a couple bushes, and a couple flowers around the house with pine straw, your favorite for your mulch. No, not even real mulch, pine straw. But in an established neighborhood, you're going to find where those trees have either been replaced and people have put in what they want. So maybe they've put in some mature palm trees. Or like my house, I have crepe myrtles in my front yard that have been there now for over 10 years. And those crepe myrtles have had time to grow where they're up over the roof. They're about 15 to 20 feet in height now. At my other home, I have a birch tree that is probably about 50 feet tall and is gorgeous and beautiful and adds a lot of shade and character to the backyard of the house. It makes for a lot of appeal for some people. I had a client who recently moved here from Hawaii, and their number one thing was not, how many bedrooms the house had, wasn't whether it had granite or if it had formica in the kitchen. It was mature landscaping. They wanted something that would make them feel at home. They wanted something that would have beautiful trees, landscape to look at around them, and not be a clear-cut new build community. So if you're someone like that, then you're definitely going to want to look at mature landscaping in resale homes. Some great neighborhoods in Carolina Forest where you can find that is neighborhoods like The Farm or Berkshire Forest, or even Waterford Plantation, where you're going to find these huge, massive trees that have had time to grow, because those homes are going to be anywhere from 15 to 20 years old, a lot of them. So if you're thinking you want to have mature landscaping, new construction is not going to have it, unfortunately. You're definitely going to have to look at the resale side. The second thing that you're going to find when you start talking about resale homes is that most of the time, those lots are going to be a little bit larger in size. As building costs have gone up, the profitability has to kind of stay there for these builders to stay in business. So what's one of the ways they can do that? They've taken the lots from what used to be maybe a third to a quarter acre down to a fourth or fifth of an acre. Doesn't seem like a lot of difference really in the lot size, but when you look at how close the homes start to get, it definitely makes a difference. In some of the developments in the Carolina Forest area, you're gonna find that fifth acre lot where it feels almost like you can reach out your window and touch your neighbor's house because it's that close by. But if you go into some of the established neighborhoods in the Carolina Forest area, you're gonna find those larger lots. Why? Because the land didn't cost as much back then to purchase, where now it's cost more to purchase, so they have to maximize the profits more by making smaller lot sizes for the houses. So if you say, hey, I want a little more space, you definitely want to look at the resales. The other thing when it comes to if you want more land that I talk about a lot of the time is that the closer we get to that big blue ocean, the higher the price of the dirt goes up, which means the lot sizes are going to become smaller and you're going to have less dirt and closer houses to you. If you're someone who says, I need to have at least an acre to two, you're going to have to go out to Conway nowadays to do it. There's really only one place that I know of in all of the Carolina forest area or even close to the beach where you can find those 1 to 2 acre lots. Now the homes in there, they're custom built homes, and you're looking at probably $800,000 to well over $1 million for anything that's in that development. So unless that fits in your budget, if it is, great, I'd love to help you sell one. Call me, I can tell you all about that development. But for most of us, that's probably not what we're looking for. So we're gonna have to go out a little bit farther or go to the resales in order to find the land. So the third thing on our list is kind of something that has to do with resales, but it also has to do with new construction. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but it's the negotiation. When you have someone who is selling a resale home, sometimes you can find the better deals there, the better values, because, well, they've gotten to the point now they have to get it sold because they have to move, or they've already moved and the house is sitting there costing them a lot of money. And so in those situations, you're going to be able to find sometimes a better deal. For example, I have a client that just this last week bought a condo and we wrote our offer. We came in well under asking price. And the seller didn't even counter. He was just excited to get an offer. He accepted it. My person went, okay, what am I buying? Is something wrong here? Because they didn't even counter back on the price. No, it's just he was ready to sell and get rid of it because the property had been sitting for a little while. He doesn't live in it anymore and it's costing him a significant amount of money each month. So if you're looking for something where you can do maybe sometimes a little bit better negotiations, the resales are definitely going to give you that option. The new construction is going to have the incentives though. So it kind of becomes a little bit of a wash at the end of the day, but whichever way you want to go, we can definitely do our best to get you the best deal out there. All right, so the fourth thing on our list is if you're looking to buy a resale home, you can move in it pretty much right away. And when I say right away, what do I mean? Our time for closing here in our area is usually going to be about a 30-day window for any type of closing. Now, if you're buying something that's new build and it's in framing stage right now, obviously you can't move into it in 30 days because that house isn't going to be ready. Instead, you're looking at probably a 4 to 5 month period until that home's going to be available for you to occupy, which means you're going to have to maybe rent a place, stay there, take on that extra expenses. If you're buying something that's a resale, you can probably move into it within a 30 to 40 day window and not have any issues at all. Now, if you're doing the new construction, we have to wait obviously till the house is done. You know, I have clients right now, they're moving here from California, and unfortunately they had a couple delays on the build of their home. So they had to extend the Airbnb where they're staying right now and stay a couple extra weeks till that house can get completed to move in. If they were buying a resale home, that obviously would never have been an issue. All right, and the final thing about a resale home that you're gonna probably say is the reason you want it more than anything is just the unique character and charm that that home has had. When somebody has moved into that home, they've put their final touches on the house, whether that means painting rooms. You know, if you buy a new build, it's all gonna be a blank canvas, white, blah walls, right? Whereas if you go and you buy something that's a resale, somebody has gone in and they've put their color palette on the home. They've made the color of this room blue, this room green, whatever it may be, they've done it. They've spent a little bit of extra money maybe to put in the backsplash in the kitchen, which the original builder didn't do on the home. They've gone in, they've upgraded the appliances because the house needed new ones. And so they put new ones in maybe a year or two ago. And when they put them in, they didn't just buy the cheap stuff, the builder grade, they put in the higher quality. They may have gone in, like in my home that we purchased recently, that home had upgraded carpet downstairs. When I walked on it for the first time, I thought I was just floating on a cloud because it was super soft and had extra padding and was just really, really comfy. It didn't have the cheap builder grade quality in the house anymore that was put in when the house was originally built. So when you go and you're buying something that's a resale nowadays, you're gonna find that it has that personality, it has that character, it has those customizations that you might be looking for in a home. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you're thinking about moving to the area, do me a favor, go over to jeremyblanton.com and there you can book a 30-minute call with me. Fill out the form, it's real easy to do. It connects right in with my calendar and we can discuss your move to the Myrtle Beach area here in the near future. We'll talk about what we need to get together as a plan to help you make your move as quick and as easy as possible. As always, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And I need to know, new construction or resale? leave me a comment down below and let me know. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one.